All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army, episode 2.204, and we got a lot to talk about this week. Even though it is still technically an international break, we will start with headlines, where we got Barcelona and the coaching carousel, weekly what if, Tottenham / Jesse Marsch related, U.S. men's national team, where we got the reaction to Grenada and El Salvador games, a mailbag. It's been a while since we've done a mailbag. This seems like a good week to do it, especially because of our special recurring guest, who we'll get to in a minute. Premier League, we will keep it very short with a quick weekend preview and then stoppage time with Ivan Toney's best bets and everybody's favorite segment, GOAWs. But now it is time to welcome in this week's distinguished panel of beauties. First up, we got Mikey Fowler, aka Mikey Podcast, who loves being introduced first. So I saw this weekend that you were dying to see John Wick 4.
Yeah.
Which struck me as somebody who saw John Wick 1 and had no inclination to watch any of the other John Wicks. What's am I missing something with the John Wick franchise?
Am I missing something why you saw the first one and decided to be that was like your only cool moment?
It was
like, I did something sick once. I went and saw John Wick 1.
One time in my life I did something cool.
There's other ones and they're even cooler. They keep getting cooler.
Okay. So I was gonna say, give me the sales pitch, because listen, the first one I thought was just like a run-of-the-mill, very kind of cool, which I'm not necessarily cool. John Wick. We're not talking Jason Bourne. We're talking John Wick here. It was just a cool action movie, right? Plus, they killed a dog, which sort of set me.
If you see John Wick and you think just a cool action movie, I'm not going to waste my breath. If you haven't bought into the entire experience of shutting your brain off and duding the fuck out for a few hours, then hey, man, I don't know. We're on different paths.
So you're not even going to give me the sales pitch. You're just going to say you don't understand.
To enjoy it is to kind of laugh at yourself while laughing at it and enjoying how cool it is. I don't know. If you don't want to do that,
like a Cal the Dragon explanation that you're giving.
No, John Wick is much more simple than Cal the Dragon, but
it's deeper. It's a lot deeper than Cal.
But if by having them in common it means they're way above your head, then sure, they are alike.
Okay, fair enough. You didn't sell me. You did not sell me on John Wick.
I don't want to. It's 3 hours long. I doubt you have that much time.
Nah, I definitely don't got that in me. Unless it's preparing for a podcast and talking people's faces off.
We can not record next week and you could go see John Wick 4.
No. Listen, next up we got Mr. Dapper himself, Tyler Terrans, back from South Florida, where the Chicago Fire did not cough up a lead for once. God bless them. So usual question, what was the most and least favorite things, your most and least favorite things about Miami?
Favorite thing was being able to see my 99-year-old grandfather who's turning 100.
Wow.
In August.
Wow. Mazel.
And I drove to his 95-year-old girlfriend's house, had a cup of coffee, sat down with he and Jeannie, had a lovely little time. And then Bobo got in his Lincoln because, yes, he still drives at 99, and they gave him an extension on his 97. And I followed him to a bagel store in Boca Raton, Florida, and we had lox and cream cheese on a toasted everything bagel, talked about life, and just had a great time. That was by far the best part.
Was that like your most Jewish experience of your entire existence, or was it?
No, I was bar mitzvahed, but that nowadays, that is the extent of my Jewishness. Because at this moment I'm Jewish. I haven't been to temple in God knows how long, but Baruch Hashem, I live a great life.
Listen,
wow, that's amazing. 100 years, almost seriously. 100 years old.
Shout out to Bobo. I love the name Bobo too.
What's the key? Did you ask what the key was?
He's a lunatic. Like he'll eat like shit sometimes. Like
there it is.
He'll have loads of
bacon. You're fucked.
French toast.
I was just about to say, if I was 99, I hope I'd be eating like shit by that point.
Yes, might as well, right?
Yeah, like if I got to that point, I'd be like, yeah, bring it on.
I'm invincible.
His thing, what he will say to you if you are to ask him is like, positive attitude and just, continue to do what you love. He also just keeps his mind incredibly sharp. He's like kind of a quasi bookie. So that's what keeps him
Fuck
going.
yes.
Like he literally takes like between like 1 to 3 bets most weekends throughout the calendar year. And he's always doing spreads and vig and, the whole thing. So
he's still booking these days. That's incredible. Well done. Well done, Babo.
Yeah.
Well, finally, we got the living legend himself, as you guys will have known at this point. You are certain to go down in the annals of St. Louis sports legacy, history, whatever. Timothy Parker, who still has that undefeated glow going on. If you look at him on YouTube, which you should be watching us on YouTube right now. St. Louis City SC sitting on 5 wins from 5 games. Is that good? It sounds pretty good. So we got more questions for you eventually. We're going to get to the mailbag. But the question now, have you guys sort of developed some sort of post-game tradition for celebrating wins at this point?
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely beers in the locker room, especially on away games. But before the game, there's like a special ritual before the game. We play this like German techno song before every game.
Oh my goodness.
And we are like Lutz claims that he played it for MLS Next last year. And they were like, I'm not kidding. He said this before Austin. He's like, we're 17-0 when I play this song. And I looked at him just like, and I was like, okay. Like, it's a crazy German techno song. And then like now we're 5-0. And I'm like, Lutz, you better play that song again.
He's 22-0 with it at this point.
Like get in here and play that song.
Now, is it a good German? I don't know if there is such a thing as a good German techno song, but is it good?
I kind of like it. And I don't know if it's definitely not everyone's like thing, but I think that also buys into part of us winning when he plays it. So like everyone's ready when it comes on.
Amazing. Is it like the last thing you guys hear before you hit the field?
No, it's like actually like in the middle of the prep, like probably like 10 minutes before we go out, kind of just he play like he almost walks in and it's like probably before he goes up to like the suite. He's like like he comes in, he's like Celio Pompeo is like one of our guys. He's like, Celio, play the song. And Celio's like, okay, Lutz, plays the song. And then like everyone basically sits there and just starts bobbing their heads.
You guys like turn the lights off and get the real experience?
No.
It's amazing.
I mean, there's definitely some guys that like it and some guys that don't. I actually have happened to be a fan of it, to be fair.
Wow. We need to, I mean, I would just like put that into the podcast right now, but I think
he
Mikey
tweeted it. There's a Twitter. He tweeted it after we beat Portland away. Of like him playing it in the locker room. So you can go on his Twitter and find it for sure.
All right, we're gonna find it. I can't put it in the podcast because legalese, copyright issues. But
I actually think there's a next level to St. Louis that we're not getting yet. They've given up some early goals and it didn't score in the first half last week. Maybe if they don't play the song, they'll be 10 times better.
That's what Hayter would say, Mikey. They're 22-0.
I'm sorry. It's fantastic. It's a cool story.
That's awesome. All right, let's head to headlines where we're going to start out with Barcelona. Newsy week for the Catalans. So, and not necessarily in a good way. First things first, we got 2 notable announcements we'll bring up. Their appeal, and Mikey, help me out on this. Their appeal on Gavi's contract, which he just signed an extension through 2026, I think, for like, I think it was actually $1 billion for the release clause. That contract essentially has been null and voided, I guess. And now they've been trying to appeal to get it back instituted, and the appeals court said nope, it's rejected, and so his contract is null and void, and he can still play for the Barca's first team, but in the summer he can leave for free. Am I missing something there? Is that about right?
Nope, he is still free to play as normal, but in the summer he will be a free agent.
Okay, wow, that's big. So Barcelona, they are the gift that keeps on giving in terms of new stuff. On the other side, the other announcement here. So Barca was just exonerated by some, I don't know if it was La Liga or the courts in Spain or whatever, but they were sort of exonerated by a domestic group for that ref payment thing that went on. And the UEFA was like, nah, hold on. We're going to take a little look at this. So they opened an investigation into that whole referee payments scheme that Barcelona was involved in several years ago. So they're not off the hook after all on that. And just Barcelona, they just go from one thing to the next. So much drama. I love it. If I was a fan, I would not be so in love with it. I don't know. I don't know anything. Tim, what do you think of this mess?
Sorry.
God bless you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Barcelona's kind of been in like a financial struggle, like an uphill battle with like not only what they're trying to do within the club in terms of trying to sign players, loan players out, but now obviously this Gavi thing is like, what are you doing? So it's like, I don't know, do they want to be back at like their peak days of like the 2010s and like where they're absolutely flying and running Spain, or can they not get back there because of lack of leadership in that front office?
It's a wild situation, and I'm sure fans and management sort of they have expectations for the club that are that level, and anything below that, like, they will not accept. Oh, I don't know. The ownership, we won't get into all the gory details, but it feels like the ownership structure basically it makes it difficult for them at this point because the presidents or whatever have to come in promising this, that, and the other thing, and if they just to get elected, and if they get elected, then they have to try and make good on that, and obviously they can't. It's a tough situation. I guess we'll see what happens if Gavi leaves, who is one of the just biggest young superstars out there. If he leaves on a free this summer, oh my God, the thing about Barca is like they constantly, and this goes back to the ownership or the management structure. Their best defense is a good offense. They're still talking about bringing Messi back this summer. Like that's still on their menu.
Gavi's only 18.
Yeah. I mean,
oh my God.
Apart from the whole diving his head into tackles thing, that guy's
he's a fucking maniac.
He is a maniac. All right, we'll move on though. Coaching carousel. Wow. It's been an interesting international break. First, we got the Tottenham thing, which we knew was happening. We saw this coming a million miles away. Conte wanted out for fucking months. And he finally got his way by mutual consent.
No. Don't put that in quotes. That is the most mutual hatred consent thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's true. But the point being is that he was not fired, because if he was fired, he would have gotten paid, I don't know, 17 million or something. And so the by mutual consent is important because Levy got off the hook for some of that. I mean, that's what that means. So he's out at Tottenham. Christian Stellini is taking over with Ryan Mason as his number 2. And so there's that, which we can get to in a second, but also, and just as interesting, if not more, definitely more shocking, Julian Nagelsmann, who had gone undefeated through the Champions League with Bayern. His winning percentage is like out of this world. Obviously, they're Bayern. He got sent packing and is replaced by none other than Tommy the terrorist Tuchel, who is now taking over Bayern. Like, this is just a strange scenario. Which one, Mikey? Let's start with you. Which one do you find more interesting? Because I have both these situations. Wild.
The Nagelsmann getting released is the most interesting because it caused me to do a little homework on the man. He got a divorce while in Germany because he started a relationship with a journalist at the German newspaper Bild, and it did not go down well at Bayern Munich. And I think, I don't know, I find that extremely interesting, and I want nothing more than for him to be the manager at Tottenham Hotspur next.
Well, it's also interesting because he got fired and he broke up with the girl in basically the same week. Did you know that part?
Well, he's just fleeing town. Classic case.
I mean, listen, if the man is down bad, Tottenham is, it seems like it's calling his name.
They also owe him $30 million.
Yeah, because they paid 20 something to get him in the first place.
So it's like now he's like, once he gets let go, he's just like,
he's a
fuck it.
That's It's an expensive conflict of interest.
Yeah, like
yeah,
thank you.
he's like, I do not need a girlfriend right now. Actually,
Yeah. It's like when Cliff Kingsbury got fired from the Cardinals, he like booked a one-way ticket to the Philippines. He's like, see you later.
Peace. I mean, yeah. If you're Nagelsmann, do you want to walk into the Tottenham situation, the
no,
toxic
no.
Tottenham
That
situation
was a
right now?
joke. But he has baggage, and he is. I'm very interested to see what happens next.
Dude,
Yeah.
I read Pochettino might be coming back,
I don't know
which
what
I
I
wouldn't be
think about
opposed
that.
to.
I know. We'll get into this in the
We were
mailbag.
better.
Let's
We
wait
were
for the mailbag.
better.
But listen, I'm of two minds on that. Like, I love Pochettino, but maybe we don't want to, ruin that, besmirch those memories of what he did with us. Now on Tyler, you already disagreeing
That's
with me.
that's such a depressing take. Like, what is that? Like,
You
you don't
didn't
trust-
win anything.
Look, we
We're
came in third.
yeah, we won third place.
I wasn't
several
going
times.
there. I wasn't going there. I wasn't saying that, but
We won the Audi Cup, first of all. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. He overachieved for however many years, and he always finished above Arsenal. And I just don't know if that's possible with this Spurs team right now. So I don't know. I'm scared of success, basically, is what
So we have to talk Conte, though. I don't want to just gloss over the fact that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so
What do you? I want to ask you a question. What do you? What was most surprising about it to you? Anything? Was anything out of character?
listen, Tim can speak on this as well as person, but no, I mean, like, I just feel like this entire season, he came in, and for that first half season, which was the back half of last season, it was fantastic. Like, he seemed to be getting the most out of the guys. The team came together. They're playing better. This entire season has. I'll preface this by saying we're in fourth place, which is a fucking miracle. I have no explanation for that. But we suck. We stink. The team stinks. The morale around the team stinks. The vibes are just fucking terrible. So nothing about this surprises me. I would have thought, I really did think he was going to maybe make it to the end of the season a few months ago. I mean, obviously the last few months became clear he was gone. Like, he's been, checked out for forever. So you threw the entire team and ownership under the bus, a couple weeks ago. It was obvious he just wanted out, but it's not surprising. It's disappointing. I don't know. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because you think about it, like we're not in a bad spot in terms of where we're at in the table, but like watching them is painful. And then like you have to say that, like, obviously this is, I think, the big like displacement of where we are, like, kind of as like almost American Premier League fans, and then how Premier League fans like in England are like, they're so unhappy with the team being in fourth place, where like they're not playing well. They don't have a roster to be in like the 1 or 2 spot. So it's like, but they're still so unhappy that they're going to get this guy fired. And like they essentially did, and now they're going to bring in someone to replace him. But like, it's kind of funny because I mean they're not going to compete with Arsenal or Man City right now. So it's like they're in this spot of like, no, we still want better, and it's like, okay, so like where can we move up to right now
with this team? Like, at this point, but like the players, they quit on Pochettino. Like, I don't know if people remember that. Like, the team quit on Pochettino, and it's, the core is still there. The thing with what's the ex-Wolves guy? I can't actually think of his name right now. They just didn't play for him. He didn't work out. Jose basically said similar things to what Conte's saying, is that, these guys are coddled and they're soft and they're just not really willing to do what it takes to win. And after so many managers kind of say or intimate the same sort of things, kind of makes you think. I mean, you can't get rid of the players.
It's almost like these guys are accepting being like fourth, fifth, like anywhere between like third to like sixth.
Who is he talking about, though, specifically?
I don't know. I mean, like, I can't imagine that he's talking about Kane, because Kane seems like
about Son.
Maybe. I mean, just the way he's playing this year, it's easy to throw him under the bus.
Agreed. No, agreed. But like,
Listen, you could go down the
But then
list.
I mean, he could be talking about Kane, and Kane just scores
Maybe.
goals, and he might just be like talking about Kane, and maybe, I mean, we don't know what Kane is like, but I mean, he definitely scores goals for fun. But like, how do we know if he really cares about winning, or if he's just like, oh, I scored 2 goals today, guys? Well, you guys fucked up at the back. Like,
So is Kane now caught in like a just a situation where he either stays with Spurs? We're gonna get into this mailbag. I got a couple questions about it, but he stays with Spurs and then he gets sort of pilloried for being okay with, you know, that mediocrity, that midness, or he leaves and he's, you know, he's hated by Spurs fans.
He will not be hated by anybody.
No, but he'll catch a lot of shit out on his way out the door.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a lot of guys that are still there from, you know, the Pochettino era.
oh yeah, for sure.
Not Dele Ali, but who I would have number one thrown right under that bus when you asked that question, Mikey. But he's not there anymore, and I don't think he's anywhere at the moment. In fact, anyway.
No, yeah.
Tormenta FC in
Is that where he's at? Is that where he's at?
Stop.
not really.
Lastly, on the headlines front, I don't know what to say about this, but Sebastian Lletget, who is a friend of the program, and also, as far as I know, and just sort of in my dealings with him, a very nice dude. He posted a very, I'm just going to call it cryptic apology on Instagram, you know, mentioning something about, you know, mistakes were made and like something. I don't know exactly what the situation is. I don't know what's going on. I know he did just get engaged to Becky G, who is, you know, a big, you know, famous song singer, musician. And I don't know what the situation is. I have to at least bring it up because it was the weirdest thing to see on Instagram. What can we say about this? Anything? Are we just sort of like, what's going on here? Political correspondent Tyler, I feel like you got to take the reins on this.
You're too predict. I knew you were fucking coming to me with this shit. I speak only on matters of the UN.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Like, I told you, I read that in public, like while I was simultaneous. I think I was at Trader Joe's or something. And I read it briefly, and then I was like, I don't understand. Like, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not paying attention. And then I read it again, and I was like, it's not that I wasn't paying attention. I was like, this is like I don't.
So cryptic.
Those weren't real words. Like I didn't read anything. So, like I just need to know what happened. But yeah, I don't know.
It was so cryptic. I assume, you know, more will come out eventually. They're both in the headlines, and so something will come out. But I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it at this point. Like, it's just, he seemed like a nice guy. They seem like a good couple. So I hope they end up happily ever after. Mikey or Tim, anything else to add on this?
Yeah, I mean, kind of same thing you said. Like, you hope that it ends well. You know, you hope the best for both of them in this situation.
Well said. Well, there's nothing else to say at this point. It's like we were trying to bury him or something. I guess you could try and dig into it, but he seems like a nice guy. So I hope it ends up well.
Who among us hasn't had a 10-minute lapse?
10 minutes. Well, good for him for less than 10 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. All right.
Mine usually only last about 2.5 minutes.
That's exactly right. Listen,
10-minute
MLS
lapse of judgment.
Minute, man. All right, we'll hit the weekly what if time. So shout out to Ricardo Ochoa, who actually sent this one in. Where would Tottenham finish this season if tomorrow they hired Jesse Marsch for the stretch run? Mikey, where do you go first?
Oh man, you'd stay up.
Well done.
I genuinely think it doesn't matter who is going to be in charge. Your team is professional enough to remain close contention. It's either 4th or 5th for you this season in my head. So I'm going to say 5th with Jesse.
Okay. I mean, I could see us going 6th or 7th, to be honest with you. Like, I think that our ceiling
if he decides to play the same exact way that he did at Leeds with that group, you could finish in 13th.
Jesse only knows one way.
Facts.
Like Jesse
the
only
Princeton
knows
way.
one way, so it's like, yeah. I mean, if Jesse came in, it would be worse than like it would be worse than Mourinho. It would be worse than Conte. We'd go down real quick.
It would be fun
it's
though.
not Jesse's fault. Jesse's tactically obviously incredible, but it would be more or less like getting those guys to buy into that like would be an absolute nightmare.
I mean,
I'm just picturing Harry listening to Jesse being like, "It's
Yeah.
Jesse Marsch time."
I mean, Ben Davies playing in
Like,
that
what the
system.
fuck are you talking about?
Oh, we'd be fucked. We'd be super
Richarlison, like being like Richarlison, you got to press the ball, like track back, like do these things.
He
no
would
chance.
press. He would just press like aimlessly. And
Emerson
Fake.
Royale.
We'd call that a fake
Royale.
press.
True.
Emerson Royale would be the first team All Premier League if he had Jesse Marsch as the coach.
He would listen. Emerson Royale is not. He's been hit and miss like very lately, but there were a couple months there where Emerson Royale was a very good soccer
He was a
player.
baller.
Very good. All right, we will move on to rest of world, and I guess do we start with U.S. men's national team, or do we want to go right to MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-It Minute?
I didn't watch either game.
We can start with the national team. We can start with the national
let's
team.
start with
I mean,
the
the first
national
half. The first half was terribly boring.
Now this
I want
is El
those 45
Salvador.
minutes back. I want those 45 minutes back.
Yeah, agreed. Like we were not even going to talk about those first 45.
We need to say anything. Let's not talk about the Grenada game, but
really?
You can share,
just completely ignore it.
But you can share your thoughts
about
what people think about the Grenada game.
It was wild. I was sort of trolling Twitter. I've taken a step back from Twitter. I can't get down with Twitter these days. I don't know.
No, you haven't.
I have. I respond to people's tweets, but like look at how often I tweet these days. It's like maybe one a day, maybe less than that. I don't know. It's so negative, especially when it comes to the men's national team. It's so negative, and there's just I don't know. I'm just not in a. I've just sort of decided to take a step back and not get involved with it.
Because not buying any of this shit.
It's true. Listen, the facts speak for themselves. I just don't tweet that much. There was so much strange reaction to the Grenada game. Like people were talking about, give Anthony Hudson the full-time job.
What? They were?
Yeah. It was just, it's so strange. Like how much better Anthony Hudson is than Greg Berhalter based on this fucking game. That's the type of shit that I was like, okay, I can't even deal with this right now.
I mean, we're not even in a place where we can I'm sorry, but truly be excited or depressed about the national team because there's no sporting director. There's no or is there no general manager? There's one of the.
I think they're getting rid of the general manager position.
One of the two is missing, and we don't have a coach. So it's look, there's the future right now is very much up in the air, and they're going to make sure that they don't mess it up because the World Cup is coming here in 4 years. So that's what they're really planning for. They're not planning for the in between, the Gold Cup in the summer. I mean, they're going to hope that they just win it on talent alone. I don't think the coach is really going to make a difference in this point. And that's how I'm viewing it. If I was U.S. soccer, I'd be like, look, this Gold Cup kind of not really a big tournament for us. We need to make sure we get the hire right, the guys right, and we go for the World Cup when it comes back.
I mean, I think that's a fine way to look at it, but it sounds too logical. And Twitter wants the best coach, and they want the coach right fucking now. And it's, Tyler, go on.
But I will say, Timmy, as much as I agree with that, you can understand them wanting to operate in a hasty nature because there's only so many finals and so many big time games that you can prep for 26. There's only so many of those moments, especially without qualifying.
But don't you think enough of those? I mean, the core of 2026 has played in a good amount of those games.
Agreed. But whatever new system is going to come about from this new head coach and from the sports director needs to be implemented at some point with something on the line so that the guys can feel it and go through. I mean, I don't need to tell you, but I want them to get it right as well, but I can understand if they are going to rush it at some point because that's what,
they're supposed to play in what is it? The Libertadores, right?
Copa
Did I-
America is
Are they
Copa
playing Copa
America.
America?
Yeah.
Copa America.
Copa
Okay.
America.
Okay. So I mean, that's another like tournament that they get to look forward to. That's outside of
huge.
obviously Gold Cup this summer.
Yeah.
So it's like that might be, I mean, I don't know. If I was US Soccer, obviously you don't have a coach now. I mean, even if you hire a guy, you're not going to get anything in motion for the summer.
Bringing
Not,
this full
not
circle.
that I think.
And bringing this full circle to the first 45 minutes tonight, like I was telling Sam before we started recording, like I just thought that was indicative of a team who was sort of in that spot with all of us of like not depressed, not excited. We're playing in a system, but a system that's probably not going to exist anymore and that we might be tired of playing in anyway, but like a little bit different. And it just lacked energy. And Sam was like, what changed? And I was like, I don't think anything other than the fact that they just started to want to play. I mean, the majority of these guys on the El Salvador team play in First Division El Salvador. You can't be struggling to break them down, figure it out. And I think that they just started to play a little bit. I mean, I don't think anything like huge changed. I mean, Pepe came on and played great, and I thought Booth was dangerous, but like most of those guys stayed on the field.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not like we had, even in the second half, while it was just sort of better soccer and we looked sort of more coordinated, or to get more together, it looked like we wanted it more. It's not like we still broke them down in the final third, which was the same problem we had in the first half, which is the same problem we had throughout the entire World Cup, which is our problem. You know, obviously Pepe had the very nice goal, very, you know, nice finish, but it doesn't change the fact that us in the final third right now is pretty gross. I mean, we're just, I don't know, we're lacking a lot of things. So anybody impress you from the two games? Pepe, 2 goals against Grenada. I'm willing to completely just ignore that game. Tyler suggested it sort of tongue in cheek, but I don't know what you can take from a game against Grenada, to be honest with you. But he did score 2 goals, to Pepe's credit. And then he scored the goal in El Salvador coming off the bench against El Salvador in Orlando. So, you know, I think that's a point to Pepe. DK got a run in, you know, in his former home of Orlando. Not a lot of service.
We called that, by the way.
Yeah, not surprising. Made sense too, and he just didn't get any service. It's not like there was nothing happening in the final third, just disjointed as hell. So Tyler, you said Pepe and you said Booth. Anybody else stand out from the international break?
I'll be honest, I didn't even watch the Grenada game.
Didn't miss much.
I had no interest in watching that.
I don't think you're
but
alone.
tonight, I mean, I thought Pepe was good. Pepe was good when he came on. Like, you know, he definitely has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove, which you can kind of see in his play. But I mean, following him throughout Europe now, he's been scoring goals over there. So I was excited to see him obviously play with the national team and see if he could replicate it.
That first touch that he had where he took that ball out of the air was outrageous.
Yeah, and he would have also scored probably another goal tonight if it doesn't get blocked or deflected.
Yeah.
You know, that ball on the cross where he takes a great first touch, it's right under his feet and he's trying to curl it to the back post.
Sam, not to take the attention out of the game, but you said anything stand out to you in the international window. And are you going to bring up the news, or do I have to bring up the news about our new love child of Arsenal and United States men's national team? Because that kind of dominated my brain the entire.
We got a lot of questions about that in the mailbag, but yes. So Folarin Balogun. I'm not giving Sam Fam all the credit here, but I'm saying that Sam Fam definitely played a role here. We didn't win, right? He hasn't signed anything. He hasn't made the switch. But Folarin Balogun has, I mean, the fact that he was left off the England senior team, he got called into the England U21s. The next day, he was announced as having an injury, and he apparently flew directly from wherever that camp was to Orlando, Florida, where the U.S. team was training for the Grenada game. I mean, that's not nothing. That's not nothing. And shout out, I don't actually know who put 2 and 2 together. I mean, shout out to the U.S., you know, soccer Twitter fam who, listen, I just got done talking shit about him.
I
But
I was gonna say, I was like, are you taking a step back from Twitter? Or are you gonna
no. I'm just giving
like
it some. Listen, you can have a nuanced perspective on this and say, okay, some of you guys suck for a lot of these things, but a couple of you guys you did a great job, and they figured out that, based on I think it was an Instagram post, that Balogun was in Orlando based on like this little snippet of something on a bar. I can't remember what it said, but they did all sorts of. I don't know who actually broke this. The guy that I saw that it looks like he did a lot of work. U.S. Men's National Team Burner. That's his actual Twitter account. USMNT Burner, who it looked like he did a whole bunch of Google reverse searches and all this stuff. Sherlock Holmes detective work, essentially, to figure out the Balogun was in Orlando. And then it came out soon after that, he was posing with like an Orlando Magic player. He met with the New York Yankees. Those two things, by the way, are clearly those were coordinated by the U.S. men's national team and U.S. soccer. So, I mean, that's a great sign. He hasn't signed, so that's an important thing here, right? He could still stay with England, but man, it does feel like we're moving in the right direction on him. And so Arsenal, as an Arsenal fan, Mikey, what are your thoughts here?
Oh, it makes the most sense. I mean, to be the face of not the face of, but to be a part of that front line heading into 26, with the experience he already has, I think is a no-brainer I would say even from a financial or from a personal like branding sense. I don't see a way where sitting behind Harry Kane and maybe getting called up to never play makes any sense for a young kid's future. So, and he tweeted or he Instagram storied the go where you're wanted the minute the England lineup dropped. So there's nothing really thinly veiled about this. There's nothing discreet. He flew to Orlando in fucking March. He is definitely the only people that go to Florida in March are Tyler and Flo Balogun.
Pump the brakes. Going to Orlando and going to Fort Lauderdale are two very different
very
things.
different things. That's very true. That's very true. But no, I mean, I think we'll find out in the next. I think it's going to be pretty quick when he.
Oh yeah, I think
makes a
that's by
decision.
the next like international
Yeah.
window is I think when he's gonna probably have to make a decision.
Yeah,
And I love Southgate's response to all the criticism. He's like, I'm not going to call a player up and give him minutes just to not have him go somewhere else and not give like us the
Yeah.
opportunity to get better as a group. Like the fact that he was getting killed for that is ridiculous. Like there's no fucking room for him. Like there's other teams he can go
correct.
play. Very simple.
I mean,
Yeah.
I do agree with what you said, Mikey, that like just from a personal branding, marketing perspective, just like Dest, just like Musa, it just makes sense. There's room for him. There's a spot for him on a team that is going to be everybody knows we're sort of on the up and up and sort of up and coming, and we're the host of the World Cup. I mean, like we've been talking down like the prospects of like our coach. Like maybe the coach isn't as good a position
Doesn't
as
fucking matter. Doesn't fucking matter.
What, for a coach or for a player?
No, for players like looking at 26 window, they don't care who's managing them.
Oh
They
no,
are so
absolutely not, absolutely no. But remember, we were talking about how we thought maybe it was just me that I thought we were a very attractive job, and we were sort of just debating whether that's true or not. We're absolutely an attractive place to go, be a forward, be a striker. Yeah, we'll get to more of that in a minute. Let's move on. I mean, like, listen, this is Grenada and El Salvador. We won both games, so that's great. But how much are you really going to take from this? It was great to see the kind of the A team for the most part out there, playing and everything. But other than that, like, yeah, it's a little disappointing. We only beat El Salvador 1-0 with a coach that is interim, and as you guys have said, a system that is totally up in the air. I don't know what you can take from this, and I don't know what to expect from April when we play Mexico in that make believe cup game or whatever. Last thing on this though, one thing that does go in our favor for the Gold Cup is the fact that it seems like a lot of the other teams, especially Mexico, are in worse spot than we are, even though they have a permanent coach. Like I watched the game Mexico versus Jamaica. Yikes. They do not look good right now. Like they just look like far less than the sum of their parts, which, it's early in the cycle. They just got a new coach. Maybe he really hasn't had time to impart his system on them, but man, Mexico's not in a good spot either. So keep that in mind with whatever happens with Gold Cup. Okay. MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-It Minute, man. You are on the spot. Time to give us what you got.
I'm going to give you everything I got, which is about 90 seconds. All right. So starting off this week with our first game in a row that is the marquee game going back to last week as well, Seattle and LAFC. And just absolute stinker between Portland Timbers and LA Galaxy. 0-0 is the final score. Charlotte get a big draw at home against
Tim was
Liverpool,
not happy with the
win.
start, by the way. Tim is not happy with the start of your MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-It Minute right there. How is St. Louis not the marquee matchup?
Yeah, I mean, what? Typical MLS writer right now. Like, just completely ignore us. Go ahead.
I'm not a writer, but thank you. No, I appreciate
you. All right, sorry. You and the rest of the Apple TV people.
Oh,
so now you're just lumping in stuff. Wow. Okay.
You're all the same.
I love it. Listen, let that fuel you.
Dude, how does it feel that the whole league has to conspire to literally give you guys goals because you wouldn't be able to score them otherwise?
I mean, it just seems like a talking point for you guys because you guys can't find anything good to say about us.
I mean,
I love this.
What is there to say about the city of St. Louis? I mean, come on.
Hey, you take that back. I like St. Louis too.
I'm kidding. I love St. Louis. I've been in like 15 years. All right. Can I finish, please? Jesus.
All right.
No, all right. Start over.
Get back in your rhythm.
Big shot. First guy to ever interrupt the MLS Hit-It-N-Quit-It Minute. It doesn't last that long. Just wait 90 seconds and it'll be over. Like, come on.
I didn't even interrupt it, by the way.
It's true. I saw it in Tim's eyes, though. Go on.
All
Get
right,
back in your rhythm. Bump it and dump
okay,
it.
So to kick off MLS week number 5, we go to our marquee matchup, Real Salt Lake hosting St. Louis City. That is the marquee matchup on Apple TV and MLS Season Pass. St. Louis City, still perfect. Timmy Parker riding all those good vibes and all those German techno songs. 4-0 is the final score. Klaus, again, of course, somebody's just going to gift him the ball, as we already mentioned. And St. Louis City win the biggest game of the week by a score of 4-0. So let's go to the worst game of the week. Portland Timbers and LA Galaxy. And it turns out to be the worst game of the week. 0-0 is the final score. Charlotte pick up a draw against Red Bulls. How about the Philadelphia Union falling for a second week in a row, this time at home against Orlando City? Big result for Oscar Pareja's side, who are coming off a little bit of a Champions League hangover, or are they? Big 3 points after they're coming off of a loss in trap week last week against Charlotte FC. DC United 2-1 losers at home against New England. New England coming off a big road win against Nashville as well, so they're starting to snowball. Atlanta United without World Cup winner Thiago Almada. No Thiago, no. Oh, whoa. Boy, Columbus put up a 6 spot, and it's a touchdown. The extra point is no good, and Wilfred Nancy's side danced to the easiest win of the season so far, and Atlanta United's goal difference with and without Thiago Almada is absolutely astronomical. Inter Miami and Chicago. I don't know why, but the drama just continues to follow me wherever I'm calling a game, and it continues to find the Chicago Fire. They lead 2-0. They had a 2-0, or they had a 2-goal lead last week against FC Cincinnati, ended up blowing it at home. They blow it again, this time at Drive Pink Stadium, but Kai Kamara to the rescue, scores for his 10th club in Major League Soccer. Of course, that is a record, and somehow Chicago escapes South Florida with 3 points. Sporting Kansas City get absolutely jumped by none other than Jordan Morris and Leo Chu. Seattle were missing 9 players to international duty, and they still come away 4-1 winners on the road against the semi-fully fit Sporting Kansas City side. Austin 1-1 draw against Colorado Rapids. Nothing to write home about there. The Houston Dynamo pick up a big win. They're coming off of a win against Austin FC last week as well. They win at home against NYCFC. Minnesota and Vancouver played a 1-1 draw. We already talked about the biggest game of the week, St. Louis and Real Salt Lake. LAFC 2-1 winners over FC Dallas. That is a nice win. FC Dallas, of course, with all that young talent. And San Jose and Toronto finish up the slate between an East and a Western Coast team, but 0-0 is the final score, and that would do it for week 5.
So I got to ask you, and Tim, maybe you can jump in on this as well. What are we going to make of that Atlanta Columbus game, right? So we're 1 week away, you and me both, Tyler, of giving Falcons FC sort of their flowers and saying they're absolutely back. Yes, Thiago Almada's not there, but they had a lot of guys there and they got worked. What does that like? Is this on Tim? Do you think this is Columbus or an Atlanta thing?
Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, I think also Atlanta, they didn't have Almada, but they also didn't have Miles at the back. They were missing, I think it was like 9 total guys.
Oh, and that's
I want to
they
say
had
they're
win.
international duty.
Yeah, they had
Because
the
they were missing their
U21s
9.
too.
This
They were
was
missing their
a jerry
9.
rig. This was a jerry rig operation from
Okay, it was that much.
like,
yeah,
They were missing their 9. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I'm going to butcher it. But Columbus was also missing guys. Ryan wasn't there. A couple of their guys weren't there too. But I think that it was more for Atlanta. They were like, unfortunately, they were like, look, we're missing all of our guys. It's a road game in Columbus. We're not here for it, really, and it showed.
does that go for like every game of that week? Like, is it just sort of like any team that
I would say it goes for every game of the week except for the St. Louis game where
I clearly meant something.
No, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the teams that have a lot of international call-ups, it's really hard. Like you want guys obviously to step up and take opportunities, but when you go on the road and maybe you're going outside of like I said, from Atlanta to Columbus, I don't know what the weather was like in Columbus, but usually it's not really that much of a fun place to play. It's not the most motivating situation. So for some guys, you can rise to the occasion, and some guys are like, even keel with it, and that's how it looked.
That works. Anything else? Chicago actually won. Jordan Morris, 4 goals. That was like a talking point on Twitter.
I still voted for Almada for Player of the Month
over Jordan Morris.
Yeah, Tim.
I feel that's fair. I think that's fair.
Tim, you weren't even on the ballot, my man. I don't know what
you weren't. No,
I'm not writing in your name.
Jordan's had an incredible start to the year. I mean, I think it's kind of funny because we walked out of the game in Salt Lake, and Klaus said to me, he goes, I scored 2 goals. I think I'm catching this guy, and this guy scored 4 goals. What the fuck is going on? So, yeah, I mean, Jordan's had an incredible start to the year, and I'm happy for him. That's really it. I mean, Seattle looks to be a good team right now. Yeah. They've been plugging in players that are still getting the job done for sure.
Yeah. They talked to Kellen Rowe before the season. He's like, listen, this team is good. Like, this team is going to be good. He thought like they might have a tough start to the season because they had that Club World Cup thing that they were going off for. And then when they came back, they didn't have any sort of preseason friendlies set up. So it was sort of an awkward start to the season, but they seem like they hit the ground running. So Seattle's going to be a problem per usual. Anything else on MLS, or shall we move on? I was going to give people an update on the NCAA pool, but I stupidly closed the window on my phone, so I don't have it ready to go. So maybe we'll just go. I feel like I have to give that, right? Like the status update.
No.
Oh, is it that bad for you?
Is anyone even around? Like,
no. I mean, I'm fucking terrible. I in fact, I'll just throw myself under the bus on how bad I was. I had UCLA winning it. Obviously, they're gone. I had Purdue in the Final Four. I think all my Final Four was gone in like the Sweet 16. Like they were already out. I was so far out of the money. Yeah, I would have to like find my login information. Oh, maybe I found it. Oh, I did.
Oh God,
I did. I got it. Whee! Okay, so we got to give some people their flowers here. Tim, you were actually near the top for a lot of that. Did you fall back?
No, I mean, I just kind of gave up on it because I couldn't think about where I was. And to be fair, that's probably just because I filled out so many brackets. So I could have maybe done well in this one.
I mean, this was
Tim. The answer to that question is I'm too busy winning.
True.
Busy winning every goddamn week.
I mean, this
Uh,
to be fair to all of us here, like this bracket, I mean, this year has been just a bloodbath for everybody. I mean, like you should be embarrassed if you had
the transfer
Arizona.
portal, baby. The transfer
Listen,
portal.
I'm okay with it. I'm all for the democratization of whatever. So right now, the top 6 people in our pool all have champions who are gone. So Carter 1670 or 1760, Purdue, he's out. Bracket 1, no name. Houston, Kyle Lehman, Texas. Crone Zone number 2, Alabama. Sam 04931, Alabama. Mrs. Raina's pool boy, still up there. Shout out to him, Alabama. So it looks like the winner is going to come from the people who have UConn. And right now at the top of the list is Snave Mamba, 1, who has UConn and is in 7th place. RJ Romeo, UConn. QHP 1-2, UConn, and MK Ransford 2404. So UConn. And then there's some other ones. Thomas Tuchel's Lonely. And that's all I can see. I like that name. Whatever you're going with there, I like it. Yeah, so whoever has UConn is, or somebody who has UConn is about to win this thing. And shout out to them. My God, this is just a bloodbath. Everybody's bracket is busted. Let's move on. To the mailbag time. So quickly, we'll run through we'll run through a lot of these questions, but we'll keep it quick. Number 1, Josh Ham, Jack Porter, both asked about Balogun. Mikey's already brought this up, but quickly, odds he picks USA and who would be his backup? That's a good question. I mean, I think that we're as of a couple months ago, I was like maybe 25%. I thought he was 100% going to end up, 75% going to end up with England. Obviously, them not calling him in has had an impact on him, and I'm flipping it. I think we're up to 80% at this point that we get him.
yeah.
Right? I mean, like, that's probably about right.
I
Higher?
think I saw him post like an American flag on like his Instagram or something, didn't I?
Just
I
a
don't
few
know.
hours ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like
Just pictures of him being
push
there,
like
but yeah.
90. I was gonna push like
Okay.
90 over 90%.
Shout
I
out
agree.
Slip Man.
You wouldn't just say 99 at this point?
That's high. That's getting a little
That's
aggressive.
As high as you can. It's as high as you can get.
That's a little. You could say 100.
There's no sure thing. There's no sure things in life except the under in a first half of a college basketball game.
And the World Cup. That was a big thing in the World Cup as well. Who would be his backup? So listen quickly on this point.
Pepe.
100% Pepe right now is his backup.
Oh, I thought we were picking between Nigeria and England.
No, his backup with the U.S. men's national team.
Like his backup choice, okay? Because I think he picked
Pepe's
Nigeria over England.
definitely right now penciled in as his backup. But one thing I want to point out, like Folarin Balogun is obviously an incredibly talented player. He's not still a proven commodity at this point. Like I know.
Thank you for saying that.
I know, right? I know that like everybody's getting in on this, and we're all on board, and we're all sort of bought in on Balogun and how sort of important he could be, and that is absolutely true. He could be, but this is his first season where he has truly come into his own, and it's Ligue, Mikey's favorite, league. That's not nothing, right? He scored a ton of goals in Liga. It's still Liga, okay? He is not a proven commodity. If he comes to us, if he, makes a switch and everything, I'm not like throwing it down in pen that he's our number 1. Like he is very talented, and his ceiling is extremely high, and I'm incredibly excited about him. But I think that maybe, and we do this a lot, we get sort of a little ahead of our skis in terms of what this player actually is. Balogun is an incredible player and incredible talent, and his ceiling is incredibly high. I'm not sold on him being just like surefire #1 starting striker at 2026 if he signs for us. Anybody disagree? Mikey?
No, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, I
I
know
think
Mikey's
I think
thinking about
I
it.
think he's just so much better. Yeah.
His ceiling is incredibly high, and he's
Yeah.
scoring goals left and right in Liga. Like, there's no doubt about it. I just think that I see so many people sort of getting a little overly excited, or sort of a little
Well,
overly
there's
confident
an
about what he brings to the table.
there's an awesome conversation plaguing Arsenal fans right now about which one are you going to sell between Nketiah and Balogun. I happen to be on, if the right offer's in, sell both, because they're not the type I think that Arteta wants. But like, yeah, I think that like he hasn't really done anything tangible in the Premier League. But as far as you're talking United States pedigree, that many goals in League is pretty uncharted for an American ever. So I would say that we're not underestimating the fact that he is the most talented American striker at the moment. If he becomes American,
I think he would slot in as our #1 9. But I don't think that like it's over. Like, the conversation is done, and he would be the striker for 2026. I mean, like, guys like Pepe have a ton of talent, and I think he's in the mix. Other guys as well. I just wanted to point that out. Maybe just pump the brakes just a little bit. Just a reality check, maybe. Or maybe I'm a hater because he's an Arsenal guy. Joseph Ankenbrand. Even though he is an incredible captain, is it possible that Adams could get dropped in favor of the MMR midfield? Tyler?
Yes.
Do you want me to repeat the question?
Was that addressed to me?
Well, it was addressed to us. You're one of us.
Why am I the only one who's being put on trial here to answer it?
Oh.
I just hadn't heard from you in a little while. I just want to make sure that you're paying attention.
It is an interesting conversation when you look at Leeds, whether McKinney and Adams can play together. Our elite world-class teams, can you have both Adams and McKinney in them?
Oh, you would think if anybody could play together, they will have more experience come, the
doesn't mean you don't need more creativity, maybe. I don't know.
I think you definitely need a 10 in the mix of that midfield. I actually would almost say, like, I don't know, based on like where it's at right now, Tyler's like obviously a really good 6. Like, it's a standard old school 6, and the fact that like he'll sit in front of the back line and like cover ground, do a lot, but he doesn't really play a lot forward. He doesn't create a lot forward. Weston could probably do a little bit more of that. And Musa is probably your more like attacking minded midfielder. So it's almost, you fall into the trap of like, okay, do you want to play Weston or Musa and whoever your 10 is?
Or do you want to assume it's Reina, or are we going Aronson? Like,
or whoever, whoever your 10 is.
If we're playing a knockout round game of a World Cup of a World Cup,
we're playing a Netherlands quality team, right?
You're playing Adams because he needs to be there to cover ground. But the thing is that being tactically flexible and able to switch that triangle maybe and play with somebody other than Tyler in the early stages so that Tyler doesn't get gassed like we saw against the Netherlands, then yeah, maybe. But like, I still think that he is part of our best 11. If we are going to go toe-to-toe with one of the best teams in the world, he's always on the field. So he's never getting dropped. He's never getting dropped for the biggest game.
I completely agree. I think Tyler's definitely on our best 11 for sure. I would almost say that the other midfield spot, if you want to play with like a true 10, is up for grabs between Musa and McKinney. That's where I would say that I'd have more flexibility rather than taking out Tyler.
This is not specific to this question, but it just reminded me, McKinney biffed an absolute sitter in the game today against El Salvador. He should have scored that.
He had a good game though. He played well.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just pointing that out. Listen, I like McKinney. He can go both ways, and he brings the kind of He brings something to the table that
And I
Adams
love
does
the
as well.
point. And you know something, with all the negativity that's surrounding the whole Geo thing, Tyler Weston had a really bad moment. Maybe 10 minutes to an hour lapse of judgment in Nashville. And the dude, since he took his punishment and since he had that moment, has been really, really good and has emptied the tank every single time he's been on the field. And like, hopefully Gio can take a page out of that notebook, because that's a positive story and a story about, and like, we always knew that these guys were going to do dumb shit along the way. We have one of the youngest teams in the world. Like, how did we not expect a bunch of 21 to 25-year-olds to fuck up at some point? Like,
right, and their fuck ups could be worse in the grand scheme.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It could be worse. And Gio, to his credit, it seems like all the talk coming out of the camp, it seems like he's come in with a positive attitude, and he's been sort of running his ass off. He looked good, relatively speaking, in the game today. And so yes, I agree. McKennie has basically shown him that you can bounce back from that sort of thing. DJ Lubner, would you rather have MLS? This is probably for you, Timmy. Would you rather have MLS or EPL refs for the rest of your life?
Where I'm at right now, probably MLS refs. Just because I know most of them, so I can kind of like have fun with them.
Yeah, maybe this question isn't for you, actually. Now that I think
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd ask. I'd love to hear Mikey's take on this.
I MLS is so unique in that when you watch those like which way did this decision go videos that accumulates for the whole week. What are those called? I don't even know. But there are some things you've never seen in your entire life that happen every single week in MLS. And I think what the guys have to go through in officiating that league, and their willingness, I think, to be a little bit more open and responsive to letting people in on the communication aspects of it. I don't know if we're fully there yet, but I have more faith in them than I do on the FA and the British hierarchy of Premier League refereeing. So if I had to invest my rest of my career in one of the two, I think the one that's stuck in the mud and never going to improve is going to fall second, and that's England. So I'm backing the MLS and their technology forward.
Okay. This is a tough question. I sort of bristle anytime somebody starts to complain about reffing, because usually when somebody does that, like, they don't understand how hard reffing.
Are you out here fucking standing for referees right now?
I'm just taking a nuanced view. I'm taking a nuanced view of this. And I really do think that, like, I see a lot of people whining just constantly about the reffing everywhere. And yeah, that's true. It's not perfect, but also everybody has their implicit biases that they come to the table with. I do think that MLS does better at VAR than the Premier League does. As far as on-field reffing, I would probably take the Premier League. I think that they put more money into it, and it's just sort of been there longer, and I think they have higher quality. But I think MLS, pound for pound, holds their own. Tyler, you're getting paid by the league, sort of, Simon, sort of. So I'm not even going to ask you this one, unless you are dying to have a say on this.
No, just knock my credibility off publicly and just keep going.
That's fair. I just figured you didn't really want to talk about it, so I just was moving on.
I didn't, but I could have done without the first part.
I know. I retract that statement. First of all, you talked on many subjects, which you could be.
Yeah, I'm aware of what I say on this podcast.
All right, Brian Storm. Who would be hurt the most by no Champions League next season? Tottenham, Newcastle, or Liverpool?
It might actually end up benefiting either Tottenham or Liverpool. I could see a world in which focusing on the Premier League results next year helps one of the two teams in a rebuild. I think Newcastle, the wage packet, is the only thing that matters to people going to play for Newcastle too. So There's a world in which that spot means nothing to any of these teams. I'd say it's probably Tottenham, just because you have to entice people to come play. And the new stadium. All right, fine. That's my answer. The new stadium that you're paying off. It would not be great to not have Champions League revenue for a year.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Newcastle they're on a one-way ticket. Like
That doesn't matter.
Past us. So I would say that doesn't they're probably hurt the least. What do you think, Tyler?
I mean, no Champions League, I think, would potentially result in the end of the Jurgen Klopp era. And I think that could be very bad. But
you
at
were
the same
Klopp out.
time,
You were Klopp out earlier.
no,
listen, I'm not actually tying you to that, but you were but you were just sort of saying that out of because you're angry.
I mean, why else do I say things on this podcast?
Just wondering.
Like, I mean, I don't think that I was full Klopp out. I mean, I'm sure somebody has receipts on me somewhere, but like, I think I was just saying that I wanted them to do it the right way if they were going to do it, and do it before it got out of hand. But like, clearly this team is showing that they can kind of get results. I don't know, but anyway, but at the same time, in the same breath, like, I also think that maybe Klopp going out could be a good thing, and maybe that needs to happen sooner than 2026, which is when his contract runs until. But I would probably have to agree that Newcastle overall.
They'd be hurt the most. I think they'd be hurt the least, because I just think that their sort of financing is now in place.
But the more you miss out on Champions League, the more difficult it is to recruit. And they want to get bigger players than Alexander Isak, even though he was their biggest signing money wise. Like, they need to bring in good players who want to play in Champions League.
True. And is it sort of thinking through this? Would it be more like, because you need, just from a financial fair play, let's just pretend like that's a real thing. Let's just assume it's still a real thing. I don't really know. But
is city sanctions ever coming down?
First of all, that's going to be like appealed and back and forth for like a year or two. I assume. I'm just assuming on that. But I guess Newcastle, they actually need the revenues to then be able to spend. So maybe there's something there on that edge. Yeah. Fuck. I don't know who my answer. This is a tough question now that I've like sort of worked through it. I'm still saying Tottenham. I think Tottenham. And I think we probably miss. So that stinks. Plus, we're Tottenham fans, so Tim and I know.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Tottenham. I mean, we need Champions League, because we just need it.
Would Kane even?
You need it to try to continue to get players to come. Like, kind of the same argument as Newcastle, but Newcastle has new ownership spending. We're about to drop the bag.
We know it's
where Tottenham's like, no, we still need this.
And is it? I mean, Kane could stay, like he could maybe, but without Champions League,
yeah, there's no way he won't stay if there's no Champions League.
I don't think so. All right, another one about Kane. In fact, Chris Leonardi, better for Kane's legacy, stay at Spurs or go elsewhere and win trophies?
Oh man, I feel like I have this thought every single week. You
got some nuanced thoughts on it.
He needs to go. He absolutely needs to go.
Agreed.
There is never going to be, I don't want to say never because I've reverse jinxed things before, but he's not getting any younger. I mean, look at Tim's a great example. He was like, hey, swan song of my career. Let's go to a winner now. Everyone knew St. Louis was going to be one of the top teams in MLS right off the bat this year.
I was wondering
putting yourself in a position for success is what he should be doing right now, and it's not where he is.
I don't know. It's tough. From like the player's perspective. You definitely admire all the guys that have played at one club for a majority of their career. So for example, like if Harry Kane decided to stay at Tottenham and not win, he'd basically be like, no, I want to stay at Tottenham because I want to be a club legend here. Or it's, yeah, the opposite. He's like, I want to chase trophies and obviously have more success in my career. So, I mean, it's tough. I mean, Kane has had so much success in terms of like breaking records, but no silverware to go with that. So, I don't know. That's like a really, really tough, like personal dilemma. For me personally, I'd rather be like a club legend somewhere than like be bouncing around and winning trophies. Like, if he was going to go to like Man City for like 4 years and win 3 trophies, I'd be like, cool. But that didn't cement his legacy because he won the Premier League. I'd be like, he was going to be a legend at Tottenham anyway.
For me, that cheapens his legacy. But again, I'm a Tottenham fan, just like you are. So it's sort of, it's tough. For me, that would cheapen his legacy. I'm just going to go to City and play with these guys that, are going to win trophies every single season. It's not necessarily about me. I'm not really, first of all, he's not going to City because Haaland's there. But like, I don't know. For me, it cheapens it. But I can understand the other side of that. All right. This one is for Tim. What are you most surprised about with City's St. Louis City's start so far?
I think how how well everyone has bought in as like a team. I think getting used to the MLS is a really difficult league. And with how many guys that we have that are new to MLS and how well they've done in this league has been really cool. But also, I mean, as a guy that has been in some good locker rooms, some bad locker rooms, and some mixed locker rooms, our locker room is awesome. Like we have guys that like, when we win a game, we're all like celebrating, laughing, making jokes afterwards. We obviously have not lost the game yet, so there's no negatives to it. But I mean, we genuinely enjoy being around each other, and I think that that's been the most refreshing part about it.
Do you consider retiring at any point in time? Like just to keep some sort of like, do you want to be a club legend and just retire as somebody who never dropped a point?
Never lost.
Oh, you mean like tomorrow? Maybe. I mean, first goal and then never lost the game. Coming off of a clean sheet. Yeah, it's definitely something that I could think about for the next like 8 hours before I got to show up tomorrow morning.
Wait, we stay with you, Timmy, here. Emo's Pizza, yes or no?
I haven't been yet. But I'm like a bad pizza snob. So like I heard like Emo's has like the fake cheese.
Yep. It's different.
And like I can't do that. I don't want to disrespect it by eating it and then like spitting it out or saying it's gross. So I'd rather just like not go.
I know. This is I'm putting myself in a top spot here because, as somebody who enjoys St. Louis, has sort of ties to St. Louis, I'm not an Emo's Pizza guy. I'm just not. So I'll just be honest with you. But listen, St. Louis people love them some Emo's Pizza. Brian, will Pulisic break the men's national team scoring record?
Yes.
How many is he off right now?
Yeah.
Good question.
How are you just gonna say yes? You don't even know what the number is.
I like Mikey for just going on a limb like that.
I'm willing to stake my reputation on it.
He's reverse jinxing it. He doesn't even know it.
So the record is 57. Is that correct?
It's nothing.
And he's at 22.
And he's
24?
24. 24. Be 25 in September.
It's still 24 years old.
Will he do it in the same amount of caps that Clint did it in? Clint did it 56 goals, 141 games or caps.
And how many can we see how many games Pulisic has played?
Pulisic is 22, 56 caps. So he's on pace to break it.
Yeah, it's very similar.
But it's really close.
I think he does too. Somebody might break it. Balogun might break it again, but or Pepe. But listen, he takes the penalties. That helps. That's not nothing. John Taggart Jr., best choice for permanent manager of Tottenham. Okay, I want to hear from Mikey first on this.
Oh man, best choice. Best choice. You know, the thing that is going to be difficult to answer this, I'm going to keep it quick, is that we've had success with a process type of thing and being patient. So I almost want to encourage you to invest in a person and a project that rids itself of, I guess, Kane's son in the shell of what the team looks like right now. So you'd have to suffer through, I think, a lot of shit. So the best option, I think, for the future success of Tottenham is to get somebody whose long-term vision you believe in and letting them just completely take over the infrastructure of the club, because what's there is broken and the people making the decisions are being called out left and right by some of the most successful people who know what it takes to win in the game. So I think the best option would be somebody who you're going to give 4 years to regardless.
I'm the keys to the castle.
Yeah, so you didn't say anybody there.
Klopp. No, but like somebody who, you has the inherent patience built in when you hire them. Klopp, that first year at Liverpool, nobody cared about the results. It was how they were playing and what they were seeing. The transformation was happening before their eyes. You need something like that.
Before I ask Timmy, Tyler,
I'm with Mikey.
Klopp.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm Klopp out.
For the record, the odds right now,
Yeah, tell me.
Julian Nagelsmann is the favorite.
Yeah.
Followed by Mauricio Pochettino, Oliver Glasner, Eintracht Frankfurt, Luis Enrique, former Spain, now none. Stellini, who's now basically
It's going to be Luis Enrique, and it's the opposite of what you need. That's what's going to happen.
Thomas Frank is on the list. Zinedine Zidane, who I think would
be hilarious.
I mean, there's no way we get Zinedine Zidane. Roberto De Zerbi, Vincent Kompany, that'll be interesting. Or Angie Postecoglou. I definitely fucked up that name.
Nailed it.
De Zerbi's on that list?
De Zerbi is on the list. He just got to Brighton from
That's what I'm saying, and he's doing well.
Yeah, well, the fact he's doing well is the reason he's on that. But did he just come from Shakhtar? I think. Timmy, what do you
want? Company would be awesome.
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, I was always a big fan of him when he was a player. So and then I'm sure you guys saw that speech that happened. I'm pretty sure almost a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
It went viral for some reason, in the last 2 weeks. And I was like, I've seen this a long time ago. But I just think he would be a really cool fit. Obviously, being played in the Premier League, had experience there, had success there. But I'm also if to Mikey's point, if we want to buy into someone, Nagelsmann is the best guy to buy into, probably. He would. I don't know if he would bring his Red Bull principles with him. I'd probably lean towards he would, which would be interesting to see how that would actually work in the Premier League.
Yeah. It sort of fits with Tottenham's DNA, which would be getting more sort of back towards what we were. I would like Kompany. Kompany has that sort of he's a he's a defender, right? Mm-hmm. And yet at Burnley, he's revolutionized that club and has them sort of playing attacking soccer. It's fun to watch. So I would be cool with Kompany. I think Nagelsmann would be my pick. And then Pochettino is the second odds-on favorite. We talked about it at the beginning, and just to sort of close the loop. I love Poch. I love the guy. I just don't. The club is in such a bad spot right now, and I don't know that he could recreate the magic. And it was magic. I know that we've fought about this, Tyler, but like he overproduced to a consistently and to such an extent that like that was magical. Yeah, we didn't win anything other than Audi Cup, but like whatever on that. We got a lot of banners and we made a lot of Champions League and we fucking finished ahead of Arsenal just about every goddamn year, if not every year. So like he brought something. It was an amazing transformation that if he was not 100% the the creator of, he was the leader of. And I just don't know if it's possible to recreate that. I really don't. So I'm worried because like I have such fond memories and I don't want to ruin that. I don't want to ruin my memories of him. So maybe I'm just a huge wuss on that. I'll go Nagelsmann with you.
And also, Company's speech was with when he did it at Anderlecht, right?
Yeah, I think it was before Burnley.
It was at
They
Anderlecht,
they
right?
loved him there. Loved him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I got that right.
I wouldn't fight with anybody over that. So quickly, let's do Premier League now. We got some big ass games coming up, especially this week. 2 of them for Liverpool, especially the one on, I think it's Saturday. I mean, Mikey. So of course it's the goddamn early game on Saturday. Why do they do that? Those idiots. So the early game on Saturday, Man City hosting Liverpool. I know probably people don't really remember what's going on in the Premier League right now. Arsenal is 8 points up on Man City.
They're what?
8.
No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
you just want to be repeating yourself. Well done. 8 points up. They got a game in hand though. And oh my god. I mean, like what if Liverpool beat City in this game? God, that would be fucking atrocious.
What if?
That would be just so atrocious. Let's go to our resident Liverpool expert, Tyler. What are your thoughts on this Liverpool visiting Man City game? Well, we don't exactly know where Darwin Nunez is. I think Mikey said it sounds like he's probably out. I don't know. Phil Foden's definitely out. Luis Diaz is back. What do you think?
Probably off the bench would be my guess.
Oh, okay. All right, off the bench. What do you think? Liverpool visiting City?
Maybe shit, maybe not.
Yeah.
We're going with that again. Fair enough.
What else do you want me to go with at this point? I mean, are we going to see?
It's fair.
Are we going to see the Liverpool at United a few months ago? Are we going to see Liverpool against Madrid? Are we going to see Liverpool against Arsenal?
Bournemouth?
Real Madrid?
Are we going to see Liverpool against United at home?
Right.
Are we going to see the first half against Madrid?
I love when these two teams play. I really do. It's become one of my favorite things in the entire sport.
It's still nostalgic. It's still nostalgic.
They can fly.
I am curious if that might be coming to a halt this weekend.
You don't think you guys are going to be so open? I love how open these two teams play against each other.
See, but that's the thing about these games. As open as it may seem, it's actually not that open. Like the game is quick and there's passages of play, but it's not stretched. Like the Liverpool Madrid game was open because there was no midfield. It was non-existent for Liverpool, and the fullbacks were just never in a position to defend. Each team like actually gets numbers back behind the ball in these Liverpool and City games, but like the game just has a nice flow to it, and you're seeing them break down. Like it's not open. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think that there were some times where they were open. I mean, I remember 4-3 game.
And when both teams have the quality that they do, yes, you're going to catch some teams on the counter and stuff like that. But the best part about those games is that like there's good passages of football in like 3 to 4 minute spurts from each team. It's pass, chance, pass, chance. Like there's a flow to it. It's not just, fucking blitzkrieg. But anyway.
Blitzkrieg.
I don't think it's going to look like similar Liverpool City games is what I'm trying to get at.
And you think not that it's like you would blame Liverpool, but do you think that's because Liverpool don't want that?
No, it's not because they don't want that. I just don't think that they're capable of playing that way right now.
Right, and so they're
not capable of playing at the level of City's level at that consistency for 90 minutes. It will become open and they will get shred apart if they try to do that, I think.
And I forgot, Holland sounds like he may be out as well, which is not nothing.
No.
Yeah. Mikey, quickly before we move on, though, I mean, you got to have some thoughts here and try and remove your reverse jinx, even though you're not even like unconscious reverse jinxing.
No, I'm fearful that City are going to choke the game. I think they smell blood in the water, and I think they're going to do that thing where they put their foot on the ball and really, really 1-0 the fuck out of it, like really kill it. I really do. I think that they can sometimes strangle you, just death by 1,000 cuts and small passes. So the key for me will be Bernardo Silva. He loves to be a bully when they feel that they're superior to somebody. So they've been murdering teams. They're at home. Liverpool's unpredictability. This could fucking go anywhere. So I genuinely think that it's going to be City either 1-0 or 2-0. It's my guess.
There's actually some other games. Newcastle hosting Man United is a
Big
big
one.
one on Sunday. Very big. Arsenal hosting Leeds. I mean, listen, every Arsenal game at this point is important. Leeds, everything's important for them at this point too.
Leeds is plus 950, I think, going into that game.
Not bad value.
It's great value.
Gotta like it.
I just need Sam to. I'm trying to get Sam to bet it.
I gotta like it. Brighton Brentford, which it's not like the high profile game, but like Brighton Brentford is actually kind of a big one. 7 versus 8. Both of the teams,
The only teams that don't have anything to play for.
I mean, they could listen. Either one of those teams could catch Tottenham. Let's be honest. Like they could,
especially where we're at now.
Not a good spot. All right, and then actually, just quickly to round out the week, Leeds plays Nottingham Forest as well on Tuesday. There's sort of quietly or sneaky big games in the midweek. Chelsea hosting Liverpool, another big one. Although as Tyler said, he's not nearly as afraid of Chelsea as some years. Some years. United is actually hosting Brentford on Wednesday as well. There's a lot of midweek games there. That's actually pretty interesting.
Save your money.
Yeah, we'll move on though. We'll quickly put a bow on this episode. Quickly, I told these guys I was going to keep it moving. I really,
dude, this is unreal. Let's go.
Screwed the pooch on that one. You guys are the best. You guys, Tim, Tyler, Mikey, you guys are the best. Quickly, stoppage time. I've been Tony's best bets. I feel like Mikey's looking up his Uruguayan 7th division parlay right now.
There's value. No, just going off of, I mean, I hate having to wait the entire time. You know what? I'm going to get on board with it. And I'm going to take St. Louis City money line every game for the rest. No, I'm kidding. In terms of just games that I think could go in a predictable way on in the Premier League this weekend, I like Brighton Brentford under. I think neither team is going to push that hard, and I think that's I'm going to start betting unders for teams that don't have anything to fight for. I'm going to bet City Liverpool that exact score 1-0 or 2-0, and then I like the Newcastle United over.
Really?
I do. 2-1.
I'm sort of hesitant to bet any Newcastle over. They've got like 2-0 written over them in every game. Like
it's gone under the last 3. So I think it's gonna go over.
Okay. Tyler, any nuggets of 7-leg parlay for plus 920 for us to bet this week?
Liverpool back-to-back wins. Book it. Parlay.
Love it. Give it.
Amazing.
I've never said something like that before, but I'm feeling it.
I don't think you have. I would love to know what the odds are on that one. Both of those games are away. Not that that necessarily matters.
Not for this clip. Not for this clip.
Timmy, you got anything, or are you like contractually obligated to?
Well,
not
I
speak
can't
on it?
necessarily bet, but
There you go.
I mean, the leads. So I'm not kidding. They were like when the podcast started, they were like plus 940. They are now plus 975, which
They
is
hurt us. They
I mean,
hurt
that's
us.
just ridiculous. But also, the over is 3. So I think if Leeds win the game, it's going to be like 1-2, not like 1 or 2-1, something like that. Otherwise, Arsenal is going to absolutely clap them, and the over is a lock.
It's fair.
I mean, 3, I just don't think is enough. Even if Leeds somehow score a goal, I think Arsenal will win that game 3-1, 4-1.
It's at the library, so yeah, that makes sense. I will go for my best bet. I'm gonna go off the reservation for this one, and I'm gonna bring people in on a little secret that I've had for several weeks now. Liga MX. If you're looking for overs, there's 3 leagues. I'll give 3 leagues that are just absolutely dynamite for this. Ligue MX, Eredivisie, and Scotland, the Scottish Premier League, believe it or not. But I'm gonna stick with Mazatlan. These guys, they're terrible, but like there's so many goals in their games, mostly against them. They are an over better's wet dream. Mazatlan. Check them out this weekend. Just gonna leave it at that. All right. One of the fastest episodes ever. We'll put a bow on it right now with the GOAWs of the week. Tyler, I feel like you looking like you're ready to lead us off. Are you not?
No, I am. Go. Go is difficult to describe sometimes.
He's been thinking about this one.
Somebody else want to go?
I have one. Andre, speaking of a callback to our Premier League refereeing discussion, Andre Mariner headline from last week, March 21st. Andre Mariner told to leave pitch side of under-9s game for mouthing off at ref.
One of us.
That rocks. That's the first good thing I've seen. And the first referee on referee crime I've seen in quite some time. If anybody understands the gig, it's him. So this U9 ref must have sucked that badly. So I dream of being in a position where someone like Andre Mariner makes a quip of you so you can come back with something about their performance. But it looks like he was simply tattled on. But kudos to him for finally standing up to the big bad referees of U9 soccer.
Finally somebody did. Okay.
Fuck Andre Mariner.
Good call. I actually did think you were ready to go, Tyler. That's why I didn't want to throw you under the bus there. Tim, I feel
you
like
didn't want to throw me under the bus there?
Maybe,
well, I mean, sometimes I do, but that was not one of the times.
You know something? Okay, you know what? You know who my GOA is this week?
Oh boy,
Dick. It's you. Okay, you're the GOA because this is what this fucking guy does when he drinks. He goes and looks at my Instagram. He goes and looks at my Instagram photo, and he screenshots my picture, one of my pictures from my Instagram post, from the belt down, like the sicko that he is, and he goes, "Chill out, baby." And this is at 12:30 in the morning, and I said, "What did I do?" Don't ask me while I'm still up. He goes, "Double-barreled ding dongs are next level," and then double texts me 3 minutes later and in parentheses goes, "I don't know. I'm just drank, drunk, and trying to non-seriously make you feel self-conscious. Don't worry. You're pretty self about it."
Oh, yes.
Sam, this is not the first time you've gotten called out for being drink.
I know. Timmy just called me out like the other week.
You're a fucking
It was
menace.
the same night.
Dude,
It was the same night. It was the same night. I texted both of you.
Last week, it was March 19th. He messaged me at 12:05 and he goes, dis, D-I-S, motherfucker don't miss.
Yes.
And I just responded back, huh?
I didn't respond to like,
and he didn't respond back till the next morning.
Cause as I told you, Timmy. I don't know if I told you, Tyler. I I have normally a very strict rule about putting my phone away when I've been out with, adult beverages, because only bad things can happen. But I broke that rule, and I broke that rule, I think, with both of you. On the
I mean,
same
I
day.
thought it was great. I thought it was hilarious.
It was
You're an idiot.
because they'd won their fourth game in a row. It was
Yeah.
about St. Louis. That
I'm
was
sure
it.
he could figure it out.
Yeah, but you're saying something nice to him. You're just like you're trolling my Instagram post and my outfits. Like, fuck off, grow up.
Listen, it was because you had something in your pocket and it looked like it was a double dong. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
It was my phone and my credential. You ding dong.
You're just mad at me because I've made this episode go like 3 times longer than it was supposed to go.
I mean,
Fair.
my goal of the week, easy, Messi. I mean, if all 34 MLS owners are meeting about you and they're all willing to pay your wages, I mean, imagine having basically 34 of the wealthiest American businessmen say like, yeah, we want him. We'll pay whatever it takes to get him. I think is the most outrageous thing that would happen in American sports. I think it's the most outrageous thing that could ever happen in American sports. And I mean, I think it would be awesome to get him to the league, but I think it's literally, you're looking at like just craziness for that to happen.
Would you pay a second expansion fee to get Messi?
If I was the owner,
Well,
I mean, no. I just
You paid
you
300
know,
million?
you would sell.
and then they're basically
You know how many
saying, they're basically saying, Tyler, Chicago, are you willing to pay Messi to come to this team? You're basically paying part of Messi's salary to not play for your team, to play for Miami, because we all know he's going to go there. And then you're in the East. So yeah, Chicago, you might see him once a year. Whereas like, how do you sell that to like Seattle or anyone in the West where you're like, yeah, you're going to see him every other year?
You go to see him. You go to see him play. He is that big of a fucking deal. Do you know how much money they would make
Nope.
from jersey sales alone?
That's not going to help the Seattle owner, though.
That doesn't help the Seattle owner. The Seattle
It's not
owner
gonna help
isn't
the
going to
Seattle
fly
owner.
to Miami.
But he's the
to
one that
watch
has to
him play.
subsidize.
I'm not talking about the owner going to see him play. I'm talking about the fans and what it would mean for Messi to be playing in this country and what that would do for the game and ultimately them. That's
Agreed.
what I'm talking about.
True,
But
but they're
we're
not the
taking
ones
different
that are
points.
going to subsidize his. It's the owners that have to subsidize Messi's salary, or whatever. That's the question. It's a great question. I
The
don't
league
know.
is about to create a fourth
But
DP
it's a
spot
single-
that
it's
is
a
going to have
single entity.
Messi on every book.
But hold on, it's a single entity league to begin with, so it goes into a pot anyway.
Yes, but now basically what the league is going to do is they're going to create literally a fourth DP spot, and it's just going to be Messi at $5 million a book across all 32 teams, or whatever it is, 28 teams.
Yep.
And they're just going to be like, yeah, every owner is paying Messi $5 million. Sorry.
And whatever money that Inter Miami gets from that, I'm sure there's also going to be a deal about what Messi's
Profit
like.
sharing. Yeah.
Yes. It's a single entity to begin with, so there's going to be a higher percentage for Messi shit.
But isn't it ridiculous that they're all like, yeah, whatever, bring him on and we'll all pay for him, and then he gets to pick where he gets to go?
Yes, it is crazy, but also
it is ridiculous, but that's us, baby.
So
that's who we are.
First of all, he's Messi, and we're America. So
no, I mean he is standing so far above us right now. It's painful.
he's so good. He's so good. Make it happen.
In a league that just got free agency, he is rushing.
Good timing. Okay, good shout out on the Goa there. I will give a quick honorable mention to Matt Turner, who did his gender reveal post game after the El Salvador game. So well done to Matt. It was a girl, I think, was it not?
Congrats on the sex.
Yes.
Awesome.
and also to Ash, his his baby mama, double baby mama now. And my official GOA, though, is LAFC's Dennis Bouanga, who, if you haven't seen his travel schedule over the last week, it is insane. So he went, let's see, this is, I guess, in one day. This is a one day, not last week, one day. He flew from Franceville to Istanbul, had a 3-hour layover, flew from Istanbul to Los Angeles, 13 hours of total travel right there. 5:27 got into LAX. 6:46 arrived at BMO Stadium. 9:03 got into the match. And this is LAFC versus Dallas. And 9:23 scored the game winner. So his travel schedule, I mean, that takes some serious dedication to make that trip and make that happen and score that goal. So shout out to Bouanga. That's impressive. He's my GOA this week. Also, I guess I probably should have given one to USMNT Burner and whoever else, all those other people on USMNT Twitter who did all this Sherlock Holmes work to get, all this dirt on Balogun. Well done to you guys. Mikey, Tyler, Tim, as I said, it would be a quick episode. I'm going to keep this moving. I'm going to really get it going. No, you guys, honestly, whoever's listening or watching on YouTube, you better yet, you guys should follow these guys, thank these guys, love these guys. You guys are the best. You guys really are the best. Thank you for jumping on. I love each and every one of you. And thanks everybody for listening. We will see you next week. Bigger, better, faster, stronger. Take care, everybody.